Hello, the co-creative viewers. Is that Erika Macy? America Macy me. Yeah, with the weekly oracle rune and Beregini symbol message. And of course, like when you're watching this video today, it's the 1st of May. It's known in Celtic tradition as Beltane, or like in communism, it's also the 1st May stands for the working day. And of course, it's a very powerful new moon and a partial solar eclipse since yesterday until today. So many transformational energies. So I've drawn the card for next week. Well, for this upcoming, it's a calendar week 19. It's Taming the Wind. And I will read out what it says. Here the feather, a symbol that is used in clearing ceremonies for smudging, reminds you of the sacred commitment you make to your life. This is the symbol of consciously bringing the spiritual into the material, infusing the world with reverence and an acknowledgement of the higher planes of existence that influence and animate all life. The feather is a symbolic reminder of deliberately entering into a partnership with the Great Spirit to co-create for the highest good for all. The invitation. It's time to clear your energy, be present, and become conscious of how you communicate. This is a good time to write in a journal and put your thoughts into a cohesive form. Perhaps you need to actually do a smudging ceremony in your home or office, creating a sacred space to write about your dreams and desires. Just remember that when Taming the Wind appears as a symbol, it is time to honor the Great Spirit with reverence and respect. The medicine. It's time to clean up any misunderstandings with others, clear the air after disagreements, and allow others to share their side of things. You're called now to be a good listener. This is not a time to be right. It's a time for you to understand rather than to be understood. Good things come out of this restraint of tongue and pen. You will be surprised at how things get resolved when you allow for all sides to have value. I think such a beautiful card dealing now with those intense eclipse energies, because we have now got the new moon in Taurus, partial solar eclipse, leading up to a full moon eclipse on the 16th of May in Scorpio. So this is a very intense time of transformation. This current new moon in Taurus is actually quite, it's very optimistic, because Taurus stands for our resources, living our resources, for wealth and health. It's very grounded energy. So it's a beautiful time to set your intentions. And with Jupiter and Neptune being in Venus currently, it's also a time for beautiful relationships and fruitful intention setting. So it's a perfect time now in this gateway of this new moon and the Beltane. And the weekly rune Raidho also reminds us of being on the right path, following our right cycles, like the intentions you are setting, that they're leading into the right direction. It's also about the order and the rhythm of the stars and the cycles, the order of movement of our direction when we live our lives purposefully. it could also be the drum beats. And yeah, finding your own rhythm and stick on the right path. And the Beregini symbol is the teacher from the third circle. Third circle, it stands for wisdom and ancestral wisdom, especially. This comes from the upper, the divine world, from the prav in Slavic. And this is a teacher with the theme of consciousness. The affirmation is, I receive wisdom and knowledge from the divine world. You can use the symbol to help while learning or when there are learning difficulties, to recognize illusions and to release illusions. And because for me, those Beregini archetypal energies were so transformational, and I also embroider them on my shamanic dress. I connect with its energy on an everyday basis. I'm weaving them in my inner wear. Then I work consciously with particular sun rune, which travels every 2 weeks through when the sun travels every 2 weeks through a certain rune. And now I'm inviting you for a first peace weaving circle on the 16th of May. It's this transformational full moon in Scorpio. Scorpio is known to dig really deep into the underworld and to shake things up. And it's a lunar eclipse. And with all the things happening in the world, with the war, climate change, and everything rising, I thought this is my contribution because I love doing it and share the weaving with you. I'd like to invite you to our peace weaving circle on the 16th of May at 9 p.m. Central European time. And I would love to see you there. And since Beltane is a very popular Celtic festival, I like to share like the teacher energy, spreading teacher and the wisdom with you. In this case, ancestral wisdom from the Celtic pagan tradition. It's from this book, Wolf-Dieter Storl, Die alte Göttin ihre Pflanzen, translated The Old Goddess and Her Plants. It's in German, but I try to pass on the main messages to you. So the May month used to be until the 14th century and the start of a small ice age used to be a real merry, quite warm month. So that's why it's called in German Wonnemonat. And it's like this merry month. And May is known for the marriage between the green man and the green goddess, who is like the daughter of the earth mother. And the man is like the berserker, is like the bear who has been sleeping during the winter. And now with the spring, with a lot of sun, he represents the sun god who has been awakened after his initiation. And the daughter of the earth mother, the spring goddess, also like Ostara, for example, she's represented in her most beautiful flowery self. And that's how they come together. And there's this tradition on the 1st of May, so today, to put up a pole either of a birch tree or a spruce tree, and put a wreath on the spruce stake, resembling like the union, like the sacred marriage between the divine masculine and divine feminine. So that's why there is this tradition of the May tree representing the green man, like the sun god, and the marriage of the spring goddess. And people come and dance traditional around this tree, this May tree. And there are like red tinted stripes everywhere around the tree as well. And they dance with those stripes around the tree. And so it's very, very beautiful ritual. Maybe you know that. And the sun goddess called in Celtic Bilenos, or in Nordic it's Baldur, the sun god. And the spring goddess is also known as Ostara. And in communist countries where I'm originally from Kazakhstan, this is the day of work. Now they remember like the revolution of the workers for their own rights. And it also carries a red flag. Yeah, and a lot of the Christian festivities, like for example at Corpus Christi, they also bring everywhere the flowers, you know, like the tapestry, and it actually goes also back to this pagan tradition where the girls on this May day were creating like love nests out of flowers, like inviting the lovers to come and make love, which is really a celebration of nature, like blooming and being all merry and happy. And then, of course, with the start of the Christianization, it was seen like a festival of Satan, where the girls and boys were going up the hills and losing their virginity, and it was like started to be degraded and seen as a very horrible thing. Also, it's known as the Walpurgis night. It's like the witches meet with the Satan and then dance around and have sexual intercourse. And with the Christianity, with the onset of Christianity, it was seen in a very bad way, which is actually going back very, very long tradition, being a great festival and aligned with the natural cycles, which we see in May around us. Yeah, and I agree with Wolf-Dieter Storl here. Like he also argues that that a lot of those traditions, like at Corpus Christi or many of the Christian festivities, they've just been turned around, but like based on this very old pagan tradition, like for example, making like the tapestry of the flowers around the Corpus Christi day, which is also in May. So yeah, it's like an upcycling of very old tradition. And here from my V-moon calendar, so it's a nice text I will leave you with about Beltane. The great rite, the greening time. The trees shapeshift the land before our eyes, like conjurers pulling miniature leaves out of their cuffs. So, not cowed by ecocides, nature blossoms and burgeons beyond every horizon in the usual way. We can never catch up. Rising in love under skies bluer than euphoria, we leap the bellfire into summer. Yeah, it's also a tradition to make big fires and jump over the fires. Joy establishes an easy rhythm for us to expand into, following the rhythm of joy, Raidho. Rise. After weeks of nurturing, we relax our watchfulness to let our plans, projects, and carelings become sky-born in their own time. We set our intentions to be fully blossoming to the spring and until the summer. We make love all night in the woods and fields to the parts of our feral, sensual selves we had forgotten about. Find the patch of earth for our dance of atavistic ecstasy. Wash our faces in May morning dew. Bring back an armful of blossoms to decorate our windows. When we least expect her, Sheila Nagik appears flashing her genius at the global elite who are destroying the earth, showing us how to harness our powers of irreverence, resilience, and mischief. I like this message of joy, mischief, and and full of ecstasy. May you also ride with those Beltane winds in this merrying month of May, and also pass on this higher ancestral wisdom of our ancestors. Maybe also research your ancestral rituals and make up, plant your own intentions accordingly. I wish you a merry, joyful May. Blagadaru, many, many blessings. Mwah.